Hi everyone, welcome back to Array series. Hope you are doing good. This is Mahesh. In this video, we will look into LeetCode problem number 57, which is insert interval. So let us look into the statement of the problem. So you are given an array of non-overlapping intervals where intervals I contains start and end value represents the start and end of ith interval, and the intervals is sorted in ascending order by start of I value. Okay, so this is important. Then you are also given an interval, new interval, start and end, that represents the start and end of another interval. Insert new interval into intervals such that intervals is still sorted in ascending order by start I, and intervals still does not have any overlapping intervals. Merge overlapping intervals if necessary. Okay, so return the intervals after insertion. So if you look into this statement, it reminds of merge overlapping intervals problem, correct, right? So we will see that. Then note that you don't need to modify the intervals in place. You can make a new array and return it. Okay, and they have given few examples, and they have given the constraints where the length of intervals array ranges between 0 and 10 raised to 4, and intervals, each interval will be of length 2, and the value in the interval will range between 0 and 10 raised to 5, and intervals is sorted by start I, which is already mentioned in the statement. Then new interval length will be 2, and the value in the new interval will be 0, between 0 and 10 raised to 5. With that, let us switch and try to understand this problem in detail. So now if you see, they will give us the intervals array. Okay, so if you see, this intervals array contains individual intervals, right? Now if you see, it is sorted by the start I value basically in the interval. So if you see, this is 1, 3, 6, 8, 12. So it is sorted in ascending order. Now they have also given this particular interval. Now you need to insert this interval, new interval, into your intervals array such that it should be added in the right position, and if at all there are any overlapping intervals, then you need to merge them. So it means it points to our previous problem, which is merge intervals. So I recommend you go back and watch that video, and then you come and watch this particular video. Okay, so with that, now if you see 4, 8, where we can insert, so we can insert somewhere here, correct, right? Because 4 lies between 3 and 5, and if you see 8 lies between these three values, basically these three intervals. So now if you see our merged interval, so it becomes 1, 2, because this does not merge. Then next interval will be 3, 10. Why? Because once after inserting this, this will overlap here, then this value will overlap here. So all the three values gets merged. Okay, so with that, now if we merge these three values along with this, the smallest will be 3 and the largest will be 10. So we get this interval. Then finally the last interval, which is 12, 16. So this is our merged interval. So this we need to return as part of this problem. Okay, with that, hopefully we understood the problem, and we have also seen the constraints. So now what you can do, you can pause the video, you can try to solve this problem, and then you can come back and continue watching this video. So now, before understanding the brute force solution for this problem, let us look into the real-time use case of this particular problem. So where we use this, one is our calendar booking system. Okay, so basically we have created the calendar, right? We will have some events already created. In that, if we want to insert event in an existing calendar. So already something is created. In that you are trying to insert another event. So what we can do, merge with overlapping events. Okay, so let us see what is that. Assume we already have the existing created event, which is from 9 to 10 and 11 to 12. So this is our current calendar. Then user tries to modify something and he tries to add something in between 10:30 to 11:30. So if that is the case, now our updated calendar event will be from 9 to 10 and from 10:30 to 12. Why? Because this is overlapping with this particular interval. So this problem solves such merging or overlapping intervals problem. We can also look into this particular application where we look into the reservation systems, basically hotel reservation or restaurant reservation. So assume something is reserved between 1 to 3 and 6 to 8. Okay, then a new booking happens between 2 to 7. So in that case, if you see the merged availability, it becomes 1 to 8. Why? Because this 2 to 7 overlaps between these two intervals, correct, right? Somewhere in between 1, 3 and in between 6 and 8. So that's where this availability becomes from 1 to 8. So this is the real-time use cases of this particular problem. Okay, with that, now let us try to understand the brute force solution for this problem. Now if you see what we did, we tried to insert this somewhere here, correct, right? Then we try to merge the overlapping intervals. So it means we will use the merge intervals problems optimal solution to solve this problem. So first thing would be, when we insert this here, again these things should be in their sorted order, correct, right? Then only we will be able to merge the intervals. So now what I will do, I will first insert this at the end of the intervals. Then what I will do, I will simply sort it. Okay, so now if you see my I will remove this part. So I will say my merged interval will be something like this: 1, 2, then 3, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 16. Then I will push 4, 8 at the end, or I will add 4, at the 8 at the end. So this is our initial value after adding the new interval. Now what I will do, I will sort it. So I will sort it by the first value. Okay, so if I do that, now if you see, this value is 4, so it is somewhere at the end. Now after sorting, what it becomes, it will be 1, 2, then 3, 5. After that we need 4, 8. Okay, then 6, 7, then 8, 10, 12, 16. So this is after sorting. Okay, now once we sort, then we can simply use the merging technique that we used in the merge intervals problem. So now we know this value, this value, this value, this value merges, right? Because they overlap with one another. So I will simply merge them and I will return the answer. So for merging, what I do, first what I will do, I will take another array which is my answer array. So it will be initially empty. Okay, now I will take the first interval and I will put into it. This is my first value. Next I will take 3 and 5. I will check whether it overlaps with 1, 2. No, right? So I will simply push 3 and 5. Okay, then what I will do, I will take the next value, 4, 8. Now if you see, this is our last value in the answer array. But if you see, the next value what I am processing is 48 and this overlaps with 35. So if that is the case, I'll simply write it down here. So now we know these two overlap. Why? Because this 4 ranges between 3 and 5, correct, right? So now if that is the case, I will simply update this latest value by taking the minimum of these two values and maximum of these two values. So if that is the case, this will be again 3 and this will be 8 because maximum of 5 and 8 will be 8. So I will remove this part and I will add 8 here. Okay, so now I successfully processed this value. Next I will take again 6 7. So 6 7 overlaps with 3 8, correct, right? So I will write that down here. So if that is the case, always the next number will be greater than this 3, right? So for that case, we don't need to worry about the first value. So we simply take the maximum of the second value and we can update. So maximum of the second value is already 8. So we don't need to do anything. Now I processed this. Next I will take 8 10. So 8 10 again it overlaps because the last value here from the answer array, this 8 and this 8 are same, correct, right? So it means it overlaps. So I will take 8 comma 10. Now I will simply update this value with the maximum value. So this will be 10. Okay, so I will write 10 here. Then I successfully processed this. Next I will go to 12 and 16. So 12 and 16, it does not overlap with the latest value. So I will simply push that. So this way I will solve the and I will finally return this. So let us look into the pseudo code. So I will use this space. Now if you see, I need the length of the array, so I will simply take this as intervals dot length. Okay, then what I do, I will sort first. So I will say my intervals dot sort. I will use the inbuilt sort method. So it will take a comma b such that a of 0 minus b of 0. This will sort by the start value. Okay, so this is basically sorting. Now once after this, we will simply use the merge interval technique. So for that, what I will do, I will take a array. So basically I will say it is a merged array, or you can also consider it as list of integer in Java. Okay, so I will take it as empty array. Then what I will do, I will push the first element from the intervals. So merged, or you can do add in Java. So merged dot push of intervals of 0. So this is the first value. Next I will use the for loop. I will start from the first index because already I have used the first value from the intervals. I have pushed it to my answer, basically the merged array. So I equal to 1, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay, then what I will do, I will check the top element from the merged array. So basically how I will do, if merged of merged dot length minus 1. So basically this will take the current merged array length and minus 1, which gives the last or the top element. Then I will take its end value if it is less than intervals of I of 0, basically the first value, the first processing interval, intervals value. Then if this is the case, then this does not overlap. So what I will do, I will simply say merged dot push of intervals of I. Okay, so I will simply push the value to the merged array. If that is not the case, now in the else part, we know that overlap exists. So if that is the case, then what I need to do, I will basically take this part. Okay, so I will have to simply update the second value. So this value will be max of that particular value, comma, intervals of I of 1. So basically we need to take the max of the end value from both. Okay, so this will update, and finally what we need to do, we need to return the merged list. Okay, so this way, if you see what we are doing, we are sorting it. So for that, if we want to find the time complexity, sorting will take of the order n log n, correct, right? Then once after that, we use the optimal way to merge the intervals, which takes O of n time complexity. So it is basically O of n log n plus O of n, so which is somewhere O of n log n, we can say. Okay, and if you see the space complexity, we use the extra space to merge the values, right? So it is of order n. But here we can also say it is order 1 because this order n is to store the answer. It is not really something extra we are using in between to process. So we can simply say it is of order 1. Okay. Now if you look into this brute force, what it does, basically it takes O of n log n time complexity. So if we want to improve this, then we somehow need to reduce this one, correct, right? So we can reduce this to somewhere around O of n. So how to do that? So basically what we can do, we can, if we look into this particular array, so here what we did, we pushed our new interval at the end, then we sorted, correct, right? We sorted. But instead of pushing it at the end, then sorting, because sorting is costly comparatively, so I will try to find its right position. So we already know this is in the sorted order. The given intervals is in the sorted order. So I will check the first value 1. So it is still less than 4. Then 3, it is still less than 4. Now if you see 6, it is greater than 4. So what I can do, I can place this particular value directly here. So this will give us the right position here. So it is as good as the sorted merged intervals. Okay, then what I will do, then I will continue with our merge overlapping intervals procedure. So if that is the case, this insertion will take O of n time complexity. Okay, after that we use another O of n time complexity to merge the intervals. So this becomes somewhere of O of 2n time complexity. So which is 2-pass solution. Okay, so you can try that yourself. But this is not so intuitive. So let us try to look into some more intuitive way, that too, which we try to solve this in single pass. Is there any way? Let us see. So this is our given interval and this is our new interval. Now if you look into this example, if you see, if when we inspect this new interval and the given interval, so we understand this fits somewhere here, correct, right? This fits somewhere here because this interval will overlap somewhat with these 3 values. So if that is the case, this is the overlapping thing. So I will say this much is our overlap. Okay. Then if you see, there is something towards left, which is this part. This is left side non-overlapping part, and if you see this one, there is something right side, which is again right side part, which is non-overlapping part. So if we try to process this entire intervals array in single iteration, then first we can process the left part, then the middle part, then the right side part. So if that is the case, now how to find this left part? If you see its end, it is less than the new interval start, correct, right? So as long as I get the value, the second value of this value is lesser than the new interval's start value, I will keep on pushing that to the new array. So now if you see, if this is our merged array, okay, so this value is less than this value. So I'll simply push this to the merged array. So it becomes 1, 2. Now if you see, when I start processing this value, I get to know that this is the overlapping part. So first this value, this is overlapping. So once I know that this is overlapping, what I will do, I will try to update my new interval. So now my new interval will not be 4, 8. It will be merged value of this and this. So I will simply update that. So for updating, I will place 3, 5 here below. So which is smaller out of these two? 3, right? So 3 will be the value, first value. Which is larger out of these two? 8. So this is the updated new interval. So now I successfully merged this value. Okay, then I will process the next value. Now if you see, I will take 6, 7 here. Out of these two, which is smaller? 3. Out of these two, which is larger? 8. So I get 3, 8. So this is my new interval. So I'll keep on processing like this until unless the overlapping interval gets merged with a new interval. So next value would be this one, 8, 10. So I will take 8, 10 here. Okay. So if I take this, out of these two, which is smaller? 3 is smaller. So I'll take 3. Out of these two, which is larger? 10. So I will take 10. So now if you see, my new interval again gets updated and becomes 3, 10. Okay. So now if you go to the next value, sorry, this next value. So this is the non-overlapping part, right? So before that, I'll simply push this new interval here. Okay. So I will do that. So here it becomes 3, 10. Then the next part, last remaining whatever values are there. If there are remaining values, we will push them. If not, we will not. So I will push the remaining values. Now if you see, with only one iteration, we were able to merge this new interval into our current given interval. Okay. So with that, let us look into the pseudocode. Now, as usual, n will be our length of intervals array dot length. Okay. Then after this, what we need merged array or array list, correct, right? So I will take a empty merged array. Then what I will do, I will take another variable. Why another variable? Because I want to process the value one by one, right? These values. So for that, I will take one variable, which is I equal to 0. I will start with my first interval value. Now what I will do, while I is less than n. Why? Because we started from the first value, we iterated over n till n minus 1th index. That's why while I is less than n, what I will do, I will start processing. So before that, first I need to process the left part. This is basically the non-overlapping left part. So I need to take care of two conditions. Here basically what it does, it will try to see all the values which are not overlapping and try to push it to our merged array. So if that is the case, it can go till n minus 1 index, right? So I will consider that. Along with that,
I will also consider the other condition. So as long as I is less than n, and other condition would be, so basically intervals of I, this is the current interval of 1, basically its end value, as long as it is less than new interval of 0, the first value in the start value in the new intervals. So as long as this is the case, I will simply say merged dot push or add, basically. So push our intervals of I, because this is non-overlapping part. After that, I will have to increment my I. So this is processing the left part. Now after this, we need to process the middle part, which is the overlapping part. So here the beauty of this code is this will process if this condition exists, if there are non-overlapping initial numbers. If already the first value is the overlapping one, then this gets ignored and the next while loop gets executed. So this second part is middle overlapping part. Okay, overlapping part. So what it does, again, while I is less than n, so this is the basic condition which we need to check. Okay, then I will check my intervals of I of 0. 0 is less than new interval of 1. So let us see this condition. So if you go here, now if you see, this is our new interval, correct, right? Now when I start processing this particular interval, so 3 is less than our 8, correct, right? So it means it is overlapping. Then updated value would be 3 and 8. Okay, then I will start processing 6 and 7. Now if you see our 6, it is less than 8, so it means again it is overlapping. So we processed and we got 3 and 8 back. Then if you see the third value, which is 8 and 10, so this 8 is less than or equal to this particular this particular 8, correct, right? Then only we consider they are overlapping. So I will use the same condition. Then what I will do, I will simply update my new interval. So new interval of 0 equal to, it is the minimum of intervals of I 0, this is I, comma, new interval of 0. Okay, similarly the next value I will simply copy this and paste it. So the next value will simply be 1, this is 1 and this is 1. I'll take the maximum. Okay, then after that I need to again increment I++. Okay, once this entire processing is done, so it will stop and I simply need to push the new interval to the merged array. So I will do that. Okay, this is the middle part. Now if you see the last part, which is non-overlapping part, so remaining, whatever the remaining values are there, while I is less than n, I will simply say merged dot push or add of intervals of I. Okay, then increment I, then finally close and return. So at the end of the while loop, return our merged array. If you see now the time complexity, it is O of n. Why? Because in a single iteration we are processing all the elements. And if you see the space complexity, we are not using anything extra, but we are using the merged array to store the merged values. So you can say O of n, or you can also say O of 1 because this O of n is used to store the answer. Okay, with that, let us switch to the LeetCode and execute. Minimize this and I'll maximize this one. So now what I will do, I will take the list of array int, which is our merged array. Okay, so new array list. Okay, so this is to store our merged array. Then after this, I will take int I equal to 0. This is to process the array. Then after this, I need after this, I need the value of n, which is equal to our intervals dot length. Okay, so this is my initial configuration. Then I will use the while loop. So while I is less than n, what we do, first we process the left non-overlapping part. Okay, so this is our left non-overlapping part. So while I is less than n and intervals of I of, so 1, if it is less than new interval of 0, then this is the non-overlapping part. Then what I will do, I will simply say merged dot add intervals of I. Okay, after this I need to increment the I. Okay, I will do that. Then I will try to process the middle overlapping part. Okay, so now again I will use while loop, while I is less than n and now if you see intervals of I of 0, the start value, if it is less than or equal to new interval of 1, then this is overlapping 1. Then what I will do, I will say new interval of 0 is equivalent to math dot min of, so basically it will be intervals of I of 0, the first value, comma the new intervals first value, which is 0. Then I will duplicate this line, then this should be updated to 1. I need to update the second value, but it should not be min, it should be max. So I will have to change this. Then after this, I will have to again increment our I pointer. Okay, then this is right non-overlapping part. So again, the remaining numbers while I is less than n, what I need to do, I need to simply push merged dot add of intervals of I. Okay, this will push the remaining values. Then at the end, what I need to do, I need to return this merged arrays, right? So I need to convert it. So basically what I will do, merged dot to array I will convert it to array, then I will return it. So if you see, it says memory limit exceeded, somewhere we have not incremented. So I will increment it here, then I will run it again. So here we are missing adding the new interval. So I will add that here, and with this change I will run it again. So it got accepted. Now if you see, I will submit it, but it will fail. I will say why it is. Now if you see, this test case is getting failed, because here we have not handled the intervals, empty intervals case. So when there is empty interval and when there is new interval value, then we will have to, instead of returning empty array, we will have to return the new interval added to the empty array, right? So we will handle those conditions initially. We'll add the edge cases. Basically, these are the edge cases when new intervals is null and new interval length is 0. That time we simply return the intervals because there is nothing to add. And the other case would be intervals is null. Basically, the interval's length is 0, but we have new interval. So in that case, we simply add the new interval to the intervals list and we will return it. Okay, with this modification, I will submit it again. Now if you see, it got submitted successfully. So this is how, we solve this problem optimally in O of n time complexity. Hope I was able to make you understand the intuition or the logic behind this particular problem. If that is the case, please consider subscribing to my channel and also like the video, share this video with your friends and add comment that you have understood this solution well. Thanks for watching the video.